You mentioned about training also. I mean, what kind of training that you are looking at when you said that you would like to do impart some training also?
To offer companies training on education around the green economy, around for decision makers in senior management.
That's at the CXO level?
Yeah, if you think about those senior management that would be involved in MBA courses and above, so the fast track future managers of boardroom directors of companies and the boardroom members themselves, where they're making strategic and tactical decisions on, for example, in the shipping industry, we have a 0.5% sulfur fuel cap coming in on the 1st of January next year. At the Short Sea Shipping Conference in Piraeus in June, the organisation reported that only approximately 2,700 of the registered 53,045 ships on this earth are actually registered to have wet scrubbers, sulfur desulfurization equipment fitted with the intention to use the high sulfur heavy fuel oil, the 3.5% sulfur fuel oil. The majority of the fuel users may go 0.5% sulfur, but there are very limited restrictions on how many refineries are converting to 0.5% sulfur. So the air will be dirtier. The decisions that need to be made on, do we invest in a scrubber that could cost $2 million per ship, or do we invest in a fuel economy trial to see if we can make that scrubber maybe half or 2/3 of the cost by burning a combustion improver like ours in the heavy fuel oil to make it cleaner, so there is less work for the investment scrubber to do. Wet scrubbing still needs a waste process. There are open and closed loop scrubbers. I believe the closed loop scrubbers will remain. The open loop injecting into the oceans, the waste, will be brought to an end if it hasn't already. I'm not sure on the latest regulations. But it's really important that we educate decision makers. So we offer workshops, we offer public speaking appointments for works dinners and works events to basically upskill and bring your decision makers in the green economy decision making, especially where you're investing in transportation costs. There is an article by the Financial Times in the UK. It was written about 18 months ago now, but it suggested that retail distribution costs due to the marine sulfur fuel cap coming next January may actually rise by up to 85%. Now that doesn't mean retail products are going to go up by 85%, but the cost of getting it to the place of sale. The FOB prices may not change, but the transportation, the cost insurance freight costs will rise. So it's going to hit the retail market, and there will be a global recession if we don't clean up the fuel use on the shipping as well. So there's a whole area where we can discuss. There'll be much more power requirements in processing waste sludges in the ports and in the rail sector, where they'll have rail heads at the ports because they're trying to increase efficiency of the rail network and the distribution of goods. So there is no limit to the work that Robin and I can do and our companies can do in the hybrid energy market. But mining is our chosen beginning.
So in training also both of you would collaborate, or I mean, you would involve them?
I think another company which you mentioned, the Sustaino Advisory Private Limited, they have got very fast sustainable education chapter. This is altogether completely different, which we are not talking now currently, which we can possibly explore in future going ahead. But we want to first start with these ventures, this going together to mining with the solar solution, also the fuel economy. So it's a kind of a hybrid solutions. But as Tim was saying, the possibilities sky high. But first we will explore with the mining and then taking things as it comes.
Tea India is one of the largest consumers and producers of tea. Also, there are plenty of tea gardens in North Bengal, in Assam, in North East. So would you look at tea sector as well to provide some environmental friendly or clean energy solution?
Well, absolutely. We'd be open to any industrial process. When you look at the CTC milling process in tea and the other methods of power generation and use, we may well be able to find some agri-waste that could be pelleted. Currently we're looking at industrial and demolition waste and how we can catalyse that to burn more efficiently for good fuel sources. Industrial processes need to be displaced. We must stop using coal and gasoline, and we must start using other forms of energy. it's all very well for the West to take a lead in the reduction of coal use, and that's fine. But we also need to find a way of making steel, making aluminium, making cement in a much smaller carbon footprint way. So I think tea is a key industry for India, and I would suggest that there might be some agro-pelleting methodologies. With the cost of labour, we can provide manual as well as automatic milling equipment. It may well be that manual pelleting, with the access to the significant labour force in India, we may well be able to reduce the carbon footprint with sustainable manual pelleting. And that's, it's good physical labour, it's hard labour, but actually using power may not be necessary in every aspect of the tea process.
So once you develop or come up with these solutions for tea industry in India, then you can possibly replicate the same model in countries like Kenya or Sri Lanka, for instance?
Well, I've discussed with Robin our business model, which is Servco Opco. What that means is we handle customer development, pathfinding, customer relationships. We handle strategy, business development, but we have a team of 63,000 employees in companies, in partner organisations that we rely on. So we can move at literally 90 days, we can move into any market on the planet. So we intend to be available and able to roll out a systemised process. We develop a pathfinding method of doing something well and innovative and hybrid in its green and hydrocarbon source. And then we systemise it and we hand it over to in-country experts and distributors. We're not interested in telling you how to run business in your country. We just want to provide the knowledge of something new that no one yet knows, define it, quantify it, and hand it over back to India, back to Venezuela, back to Kenya, whichever industry, whichever sector, let them take control of their own economy and create the commercial viability to then go on and build the society by building a retail economy based on wages and sustainable economic growth.
So it's just build and transfer,
yeah,
not build, own and transfer.
No, the ownership model is not part of our ethos.
So you have attended, very recently this World Renewable Energy Technology Congress. So
yes.
What are the key takeaways of this summit?
Well, the key takeaways are we've got big problems. All of you out there looking at the document I'm about to show you, this is signed by some very respected and eminent members of the global community. The declaration at the valedictory session at the end of last week's 10th World Renewable Energy Technology Congress and 3rd World Water Summit concluded that water is in crisis, water courses and water bodies are being destroyed or removed in a terrifying rate. We have a need for renewable energy, but the purpose is combined with hydrocarbon reduction and phasing out. We'll publish this on our website. It'll be on Suncraft's website, yes. And also with Dateline Media. And we, as individuals, will pass this to our respective government, state and central government figures. The important thing is we need to empower the youth to get involved in the green economy transformation. Green economy means energy economy. Energy economy means jobs. Jobs economy means retail. Retail means building a viable market economy, which can then sustain itself. Investments needed. In India, over the next 30 years, you're going to have an increase in 4 times energy demand. As the middle classes grow, we've seen this in the West, we've seen it in China, as the middle classes grow, you're going to need more retail products, goods. People will want a better quality of life. They'll expect a better standard of life, of living, of cars, of devices, of food. And these things have to be sustained and met. The way we do it is we develop hybrid solutions across the board, across waters with different companies. We don't have a member of our alliance yet with a wind power expertise that can do business all over the world without any vested interest in any particular market that preclude them from working with us. So we're still looking for someone who's an expert in wind power. So we can combine so that we have wind, we have solar and hydrocarbon. And this gives us an energy mix. And in the winter, there may not be so much solar, but there could be more wind. So we're also talking about, not just for mining companies, but beyond mining, expecting us to move into other sectors. We're talking about an intelligent flexibility to the energy provision for industry. And that will depend on the season and what suits that market. Solar may not be relevant, but wind may be very relevant. We may end up working with a wave technology partner. We're keeping it open because we want to build a collaborative. When you look at the iPhone model versus the Android Open Handset Interface Alliance with Samsung and Motorola, etc., we're more like on the Samsung, Motorola, Android model. So that's where we're headed, and we remain open-minded to collaboration, either collectively, ourselves, here, the two of us, or perhaps individually away from each other. We may find things that aren't relevant to each other, but we will still work with other organizations.
Yeah, means as Tim was saying, already the rooftop solar market, if you're thinking, the rooftop solar and the grid power is already an energy mix in India is offering. So if you can bring the wind also, maybe at domestic level or maybe in commercial level in few pockets, then it becomes a very viable solutions, and you have a perfect combination of the natural energy mix along with the hydrocarbon. And of course the water, water summit, water comes, it's not an energy, but it's an enhancement of that. So water is absolutely very critical, I would say that one of the key aspect area for our understanding of the sustainability goal. So we are very caring about that, and going forward, we of course will explore that. How do we take our business plan across the globe, across the different countries? But that will evolve. That will evolve time to time.
So your role will be basically that of an integrator. Whichever technology is more relevant, you will put that there. If somewhere you think solar is the best solution, then let's have solar. If somewhere else you find wind is the best solution, then let's offer wind. That way you will go.
So of course we'll find out that what proportionate of wind and what proportionate of solar or what proportionate of hydrocarbon. That's the finding out the right mixture is very important.
When you look at the Bahamas Electric Corporation, they wrote a report about 15 years ago on the future of providing electricity for the islands and for the main islands of Bahama. The cost of investing in a multi-fuel power station was, I believe, $15 billion. I don't know if they built it yet, I haven't looked in detail. But what we're talking about here is remaining open-minded to using new renewable sources as that multi-fuel source. For island economies, we have one particular exciting development. It's currently going through proof of business, but proof of concept is already done. And it is something that would be very useful for cleaning up the oceans using ocean plastic as an energy source. And that would burn 1 ton approximately of ocean plastics, would burn 6 megawatts of heat energy, which would turn into 1 kilowatt hour of electricity. And you could put these modular units even around on an island economy for tourists, but you could also put it behind a hospital for hospital waste. You could put it in times of trauma where you need emergency power in a temporary 6-12-month period. So the UN and aid relief organisations, this is a massive opportunity, and we can bring that technology with one of our other partners. So this collaborative approach that we're putting down in writing today, we bring that benefit to all of our partners, and they bring all their benefits to us. So it's a win-win.
In technology, it is said that you must have that first mover's advantage, and so far whatever we have discussed is like the technologies which we already have, but you need to think futuristic. You need to think of newer technologies which may not be there right now, but which may come up in future, in the years to come. So are you looking at having some R&D unit to do some extensive research and development work on which are the new technologies that might emerge?
On the solar part, of course, the solar is going through the lot of technological evolutions, and so to answer specifically whether the Suncraft or the combination of fuel economy and Suncraft will do R&D on the solar, I don't think so. Because that's not our job, okay. But we will definitely would like to find the ways to use the technology to understand what the technology can be the right fit for the bringing the sustainable economy. So that should be on the solar part. But however, this, as Tim was mentioning, that waste to energy, burning that plastics of oceans Okay, Singapore has done wonderful. You know, they're meeting their energy requirement, burning that plastics. So bringing technological innovations to waste to energy or to say other renewable energy form, that's a possibility, of course. But I don't think that in solar we can do an R&D and bringing some new solutions. At solar device level, of course, we are doing, and we can bring some changes, not on the energy form.
But once you talk of providing, kind of customized solution, if I may put it that way, you will pick and choose which is the best fit technology for your customer, some of your customer. Then probably you can also suggest that on this we can bring in some academic institute of excellence.
Yes.
For instance, your own institute, IIT Kharagpur, or maybe some other institute from abroad. Involve them in developing some technologies of the future.
No, Ritik, see, innovations is not necessarily it has to be on the process. Okay, it can also be on the the uses. Okay, innovations is also important. How do you do it? Okay, so in the things not only on the product level, but how to take that product to users level. So that is also innovation. So whether you can call it as a radical innovation, so you're bringing to some radical innovation, it's difficult to bring some radical innovations unless and until without the help of educational institutions. Even with the help of educational institutions, that is a chance, radical innovations. But of course, the incremental innovations will be always a possibility to going ahead, because customization is always an incremental innovations. Everybody, whenever you are giving in customized solutions, you are adding some value.
Yeah, agreed. I would also say, in March, we did a small presentation in Calcutta to an esteemed audience regarding developing lithium-ion battery recycling curriculum in India. We need to empower the youth, not just in education, but the children that leave school at 16, that are looking for apprenticeships, when companies in the private sector that work with Fuel Economy Solution, work with Suncraft Energy, and use our technologies, we want them to give, John Lennon said, give peace a chance. Well, give youth a chance. The opportunity to do unpaid work, internships, give some insight to unemployed youth that they can be part of the future, because everyone wants to be part of some club or crowd. We all need approval of some sort. It's just human nature. And if you want to be part of something, there is no nobler cause than to be part of the climate change, evolution, and the transformation of our economies and our societies. If one spends 30, 40 years in that vocation, though it's important, the critical illness treatments that we receive from surgeons and the amazing things that air traffic controllers to take the responsibilities for, ultimately, saving our planet is the primary concern of humanity.
Absolutely.
And what a way to spend your life. And this is what we need to get across to the youth of today and give them something meaningful.
The younger generation.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I just want to mention one more thing. This is, to me, it's very amazing that IIT Kharagpur, has introduced a course, and we are fortunately contributing to that part of that course also. They are saying is learning outside classroom. So what they are doing, they are sending a bunch of, a group of students, maybe 4 or 5 students, to come to our companies and do live projects with us. Okay, so they are adding values to our processes. Okay, they are adding value to some of they're designing some of the solutions. So that's the kind of things that are happening, and I think that's a very wonderful way to take the support, take the learning, take the young minds, take their understanding, perceptions, and bring that to the company level.
Absolutely.
You can also get a pulse of what the new generations is thinking.
Yes,
and the way they are thinking.
Fresh blood, fresh thought.
And may I take it one step further, back from the decision making of which subjects do you study, taking it back to the 4 and 5-year-olds. I was blessed to spend some time with an educational charity in the UK, and I got the chance to go and see small water efficiency projects being done at primary schools. And this primary school had a whiteboard, and it's an electronic display, and it showed the metering of the water. And the 4 and 5-year-olds would come in and look every morning at what happened in the fuel, in the water consumption. And at 3 a.m. in the morning, there was this spike in water usage. And this child of literally nearly 5 years old said, "Excuse me, miss, what's that happening in the middle of the night? There's no one here." And they found out that it was the male toilets, urinals, flushing on an automatic cycle with no need. So they then changed the programming of the water usage to eliminate that. And that was a 4.5-year-old. And he saved hundreds of thousands of litres for his primary school for that year.
That's
So
the kind of thing we should have. Actually.
that is inspirational. 8-year-olds recording save energy logos or audio sound bites for local radio stations and hospital radio. This is what we need to do to get into the youth right from the early stages, before their formative development is over.
Catch them young, grow them old.
Right, and you see that it's not that all the time it's very costly appearance. It's just to change the behavior. Okay, that how do
It's
you...
all about mindset.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's aptly said, all long journey begins with baby steps. Today I'm sure both these companies have taken that right baby step. It is also said that success is not a destination, it's a journey. So I'm sure the journey which begins today will go on and on.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Ravi.
you.
Thank you, Ravi.